go live on Facebook.
Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Sphons CCW Live Show, brought to you, obviously, of course, by Sphons CCW. Interesting weeks we're having here. Got a lot to talk about. Get signed up for class. You're probably going to need it.
Yeah.
So
Don't wait.
the schedule. Before I do that, I keep forgetting the rimfire shoot date. What's the date on that?
19th.
The 19th.
July
Okay.
19th.
So anyway, we're having a rimfire sniper shoot at the Minerva Sportsmans Club. July 19th. Starts at 1 p.m. We'll go till everybody's tired. $20 a head. Bunch of targets. Bring your rimfire rifle. Going to have Magnum and 22 long rifle classes. Bring the kids. It's going to be a riot. Challenging targets, fun targets, all kinds of different stuff we're going to have set up. So it's going to be a riot of a time. What do we got for classes? 7-Eleven, personal protection in the home. Looks like there's 2 left for that. That's it. So if you want them, get them. 725, 3. If you want those, get on them quickly. 726, we got 8 left. Those are all will qualify you for your concealed handgun license. 8.8, pistol fundamentals. If you really want a class about learning how to use your handgun, that's going to be the class. You want to get better at it, get signed up for pistol fundamentals.
I think there's only 2 or 3 left in that too, though.
Yeah, I think there's 3 slots left in that one.
left in that.
8, 9, 823 concealed carry classes. 9, 12, and 13. There's 3 slots left in defensive pistol. So you want to learn how to use your pistol. You want to learn how to fight with your pistol. That's going to be defensive pistol. So that is always a riot of a time. It's fun. 2 days long. There's a ton of shooting. Draw, move, shoot, up, down, sideways, dark, light, anything we can throw at you. It's always a fun time. So
Induced
stress. And what else we got? Well, Nate, you just got back from our annual Warrior Poet Society shoot at the club.
Yeah. I took Warrior Poet Pistol 2. Kind of builds on, a lot of the stuff learned in Pistol 1. I did Pistol 1 last year. Another kind of a building block of a lot of the fundamentals and really solidifying it. And Pistol 2 gets into a lot more of the some more of the advanced stuff. Target transitions, the use of cover, a lot more of the mindset theory, and a little bit more, a lot of, scenarios and stuff like that. It, builds on level 2. It was a good course, and I'd like to thank them guys for coming up. I always have a good time when they come up. But as you can see, we're still doing classes too. So we sign up for and attend lots and lots of classes, because there's
always something new to learn.
There's a ton of information out there, and multiple, even as far as different ways to do certain things, and some things may click with some people better than others, and
Certainly.
So we're continually trying to push ourselves to, to not only be better students, but to be better instructors, so that we can help you guys too.
It's a lot of fun anyway.
Oh, and it's a blast.
Yep.
And it's fun. You get to meet a lot of cool people.
Yeah.
So a lot of different backgrounds. We've had yesterday when they were doing the introductions of the people, and there was 3 people in class that had been in plane crashes, like commercial airliner plane crashes.
Really?
I'd like to stay away from those.
That's what I told him. Like, I looked around because I took Pistol 1 last year. Yesterday was Pistol 1, and I looked around and I'm like, I don't know if I should be here. I'm like, why? I'm like, because you are some unlucky people.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like the odds of a plane crash and get 3 people in one place are like, oh yeah, I was in a plane crash. You know, the one guy said, he's like, oh yeah, I was in a plane crash. I was sitting forward of the engine blew up and tore through the whole side of the plane, killed like a bunch of people. What?
Wow. I wonder if that dude plays the lottery on a regular basis.
I don't know. The other guy said that they came in for a landing and the landing gear broke.
Like, you got, don't come back.
Yeah.
And Budget Guns and Gear says the stream looks good.
All right.
Thank you.
That's if there's any water in the stream. How about the shows? That look good too.
Yeah. Water in the stream. Okay. Range tip. Journal or notebook of drills. That's a good one. Keep track of your progress.
Yeah, keep track of your progress, and you may want to revisit some drills that you may have found too hard to begin with. But don't throw them away. 'Cause as you progress through your training, it may become easier.
Yeah.
And also they're a lot of fun to do. I got a book that's, oh my God, probably got 30 or 40 different drills in it. And that also allows you to push yourself beyond your comfort zone too. If you leaf through the drills or whatever you got and find something new on the internet or in a magazine or whatever, you can always put it in your book and go from there. Try to push yourself as far as you can without falling apart, and that's the way you get better.
Yeah. If you don't continue to kind of push that envelope and push your comfort zone, and as long as you're keeping everything safe, those always rules, those 4 always rules. As long as you're following them and not breaking them and keeping everything safe, push yourself out to the push yourself out of your comfort zone. Beat it up a little bit. Let your groups open up. All right, what do I got to do to shrink my group back down while maintaining this speed? All those different things. You said we spent a bunch of time today working on cover. Good way, ways to work cover and working around cover. Almost everywhere you go is you have cover concealment, and it's like you have to clear something. You get into an altercation. It's very weird to get into an altercation in a wide open,
Right.
a flattened soybean field. It's a parking lot. It's a gas station. It's a bank ATM. There's so much stuff around
alcove
there.
or something. That you don't know where the guy's going. You might have to fight your way out.
Well, I can remember when we started doing some of the first drills that we were attempting to do, and pushing hard to try and get better and doing different things. And some of the first shooting competitions that we went to, and as you remember them as being hard, and then as you revisit them, as fundamentals solidify, as things click in your head, as you get better at it, it seems like not only does the time kind of slow down because you're used to those more advanced techniques, when you can make the time on a drill, or you can hit the target or something like that, it's a pretty good feeling that hey, you went back and revisited that, and this isn't as hard as I had originally perceived. It just took a little bit more time for me to get to where I wanted to be.
Yeah, you build on those, you solidify your fundamentals. So now being able to think about doing this other task is It's second nature, and you got smoother at it. So
Yeah,
Certainly.
and the fact that as you solidify your fundamentals, and subconsciously you're aware of your actions when you're going as fast as you can and shooting as much as you can and running these drills, and then you can look back and say, okay, I could have did that different, because subconsciously you knew that somewhere in there, that point, you screwed up.
yeah, you can start picking your shots apart.
Yeah,
Yep.
And
exactly.
and it's a good thing. Even if you have a semi good, that one was pretty good. What can you do to make it? Well, maybe I pushed a little bit on that one,
Yeah.
or
Right.
my this kind of string of shots was I could kind of feel my grip breaking up a little bit, or
Yep.
and it gives you, as you are no longer stressing, you work through the fundamentals, and you can those are ingrained. That's like you start to be able to self-diagnose and be able to, this is what was going on there. That's why I kind of did it. All right, I need to do this, because now you're not focusing on the fundamentals as much.
Right.
And that's just goes right along with it, pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone. You push it out, you bring it back. You push it out, you bring it back. And you find where each time where you need that improvement, or where you're a little slim on one thing or good at another. You can't just practice the stuff that you're good at all the time.
Oh no,
You
no.
got to go after the
Absolutely.
stuff that you suck at too.
Yep.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's how you get better.
Yeah, because your comfort zone may be way down here when you start, but if you push yourself outside your comfort zone every time you go to the range, pretty soon your comfort zone gonna be way up here.
Yeah.
And that's what you want.
Exactly.
So,
Well, that leads right into the carry tip.
I kind of thought that was, this was kind of pertinent.
Certainly, I
with
mean, I get we beat on situational awareness, and you can't do it all the time, but we beat on this because it's so lacking. When you're just out on your day-to-day basis, take a look at people. They're so oblivious, it's not funny. Especially now with what's going on around the country. And you got to look at the reason we're beating on this situational awareness is threat level consciousness. How threatening is the situation at hand? So maybe there's no weapon present, but gosh, you got a little too close to a guy with a shopping cart in the big box store parking lot, and now he's spewing a stream of obscenities at you.
Sure.
What's the threat level, right? Is it, condition red, sending the howitzers at that point in time? Probably not, right? Can you drive away? Understanding those threat levels. Did you get out of the car and the guy pinned you between, a concrete barrier and your vehicle? Now you can't get out of it. Is he actively trying to get in your car? All three of those situations are different threat levels, and you have to respond appropriately to each changing threat level as it comes forward.
Yeah, and that can change almost instantly, depending on whether this guy who started this confrontation with you, maybe his buddy's over there.
Yeah.
So you got two.
Now
All of a sudden you went from condition orange to red.
Yeah, you have multiple attackers.
Yeah.
You can have, and the threat level consciousness is, it doesn't always have to be for attackers coming at you.
No.
You can use this almost all the way through your life. Like, okay, I'm driving to work and we have a freezing rainstorm. What's the threat level now?
Yeah, exactly.
My threat level went from dry pavement and I'm half paying attention to my driving to, oh my gosh, I have to really pay attention to what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So
almost up to orange right there sometimes.
Well, even just, I mean, dry pavement traffic, you know.
Oh yeah.
All this stuff, you know, plays into a lot of your life, and, you know, ingrains in there, you know, your situational awareness of, you know, back to what they taught you in driver's ed, that, you know, defensive driving.
Yep.
Staying away from the people, giving yourself lanes, movement, paying
Routing
attention
during rush hour.
Yeah, paying attention to what's going on around you, so that, you know, the guy that's going to drive into you, you can avoid, or you don't drive into them. You know,
Right.
Exactly. That's a good analogy, really. Situational awareness is like checking your mirrors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
it is.
Literally, it's like checking your mirrors.
And everybody does that.
Yeah.
I hope.
Like, why did, judging from the amount of smashed cars on the highway this day and age, I don't think that they do.
No, they're more concerned about that way than that way.
Yeah, they don't. They don't really look behind them while they're going this direction. They don't even look behind them when they're going behind them.
No.
So,
but you know, even, you know, just day to day, even in a little town, Minerva, here, and, you know, whatever, going to the post office and the bank, whatever, you know, if you're aware enough to know what's going on around you, you'll get to the point where, you know, you open the door and look behind you. Okay, see if anybody's back there.
Yeah.
If somebody's back there is not a threat, hey, come on in. You know, if they are, close the door.
Yeah,
certainly. So that brings us on to not only our video as it plays into the things that have been happening around us, but the title of our show. And I put this up here: Fight fire with fire, and all that will be left are ashes. So the thing that we need to understand about that statement is you fight fire with water, not fire. Burning down your house because it has a spider in it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. And I got a video here that I run across, and a little bit of back context to this. This is a pharmacy, and as far as events go, the video kind of stinks. But the thing is, this goes right along to the fighting fire with fire. What we're going to see is 3 dudes. They're looking into a pharmacy, right? They're milling around. They go get tools. They try and pry the door open. And if you notice, they're not super successful. And the homeowner notices. What's he do? He gets up and he goes out to confront them. He may have been better off to close the office door and call the police. They get into this particular establishment. They spread out. And this is why we tell folks to have a plan long beforehand and not go after the attackers. 3 guys taking off out the door. What's this guy do? Takes off after them. Fighting fire with fire ends in ashes. If you're dealing with a castle doctrine situation, which he was if he owned a business, going outside after those folks essentially puts this into the mutual combat or pursue category. Anything that happens inside of the house or your business or your
personal space
is one thing. When you get outside of it, that's something else. He took no preparations to deal with 3 attackers. Now, the guy got lucky. He went out going to confront them. He probably went out to figure out what was going on. He should have went out the door, figured it out, and came back in the door. That way, he's setting himself up at the maximum advantage. out in that store, 3 guys spread out. He doesn't know where they're at. If those 3 guys had decided to attack rather than run, now he's got 3 guys to deal with, and he doesn't know where all 3 of them are. He doesn't even know how many there are,
Right.
judging by the look on his face.
Well, with them coming in there and spreading out, and he went out. He left his place of advantage, his place where he had an ambush set up.
Yeah.
He was sitting there. Okay, I ambushed, set up, ready to go. Let somebody just walk into it.
We were just talking about how hard it is to deal with an ambush. There's no tried and true greatest, we're going to fix all ambush method ever. You have to play the cards you're dealt.
Yeah, and so he had one. He's perfectly set up. Let them come right into my ambush. Well, now him going out into, not only he walked out into a dark store with 3 people out there. So now he has to go out there and clear his store by himself,
which is hard enough.
Absolute worst case scenario.
Certainly.
Clearing anything by yourself and walk right into their ambushes.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Every one of them now presents their own specific ambush. And like he said, it's hard to get through. Ambushes are terrible. And to set yourself up to potentially walk into 3 of them,
it just doesn't make sense.
Your chances of survival go.
Yeah.
Well, we say all the time that you need to make the criminal's plan your plan and stick with your plan.
Yeah.
Not go back out there and play into their plan.
Yeah. You change the dynamic. You
Right.
fight your fight.
Right.
You set it up so that they have to come to you. They have to walk through the ambush. They're the ones at the choke point. I mean, how many more times can you...
Especially given a situation like that where he had the utmost advantage and upper hand.
Absolutely. He got one doorway. He's got one choke point. He's got the lights on. He can see. He doesn't have a backup flashlight. It just doesn't look like he's got a flashlight on his pistol. It wasn't showing on the sidewalk when he ran by.
No.
So I didn't even see any glows of night sights. So he is wholly unprepared to do anything against even 3 guys with crowbars. He just plain got lucky.
Yeah.
Plain got lucky.
Yeah.
Multiple attackers, multiple people coming in the door. I mean...
he got lucky because they didn't plan on anybody being there.
Right.
And
Kind of surprised.
I would imagine they're probably not the most super of hardened criminals.
Mhm.
So as soon as their plan got foiled, they went, "Oh shit!" and bolted.
Yeah.
Which is the best case. That was his best case scenario. On
Yeah. Right now, the only thing he's got is a busted door in which he's going to have to screw shut and have repaired. But this could have just... We could have been watching an entire different video where this guy dies and 3 criminals get away.
And with the stuff.
With his, whatever kind of drugs he's got in there that...
Right.
And this is out of St. George. I think it's St. George, Utah, where this happened. But it just... The whole dynamic doesn't make any sense. Going out... And that's why we're saying fight fire with fire, and you end up with ashes, because it's just bad. And then not only that, he left the safety and security of the building to try and figure out where they're at, and he didn't even have a phone in his hand.
Yeah.
Call 911.
Yeah,
I mean,
you have to factor in that no matter where you are, the cops aren't going to get there for 15 to 20 minutes.
Certainly.
So you're out there alone.
Well, now the store's open
with nobody watching him.
and he's wandering around in a dark parking lot.
Yeah.
So now he still has to navigate a dark parking lot with 3 people that just broke into his place. That hell,
How do you know they didn't go
one
back in?
of them could have just been sitting over there, and when he went walking out this way, walk back in, get all the stuff anyway.
Yeah.
Or say, joke's on you, buddy, and the guy comes walking back in and probably
And takes a crowbar.
To the side of the face because he's not
Absolutely.
paying attention.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Fight your fight.
Fight your fight. Have a plan. Don't do this. Don't be going out after the criminals. Now, we know this is a business. If this is a house and upstairs bedroom and you got to go down the hall for a family member or child, completely understandable. You have to accept that risk. What is your threat level? You have to be able to rationalize the threat level and be conscious of that threat level. So, yeah, whole worked out for this dude, but bad news. Bad tactics.
Ought to play the lottery today.
Bad tactics. Yeah, like them guys with the plane crash. The dude maybe ought to buy a lottery ticket in his own pharmacy.
Get rid of the business.
Troopers arrest 3 after a high-speed pursuit and search, and 1 suspect live streams his arrest. This is from the Akron Beacon Journal. Once again, guys, all of our videos and articles, the links are all in the description, so you head right down there and check them out if you want to. Not going to spend a lot of time here, but I think it was this dude and this girl, and that dude ran into a swamp and was arrested by the State Highway Patrol. He was charged with improperly handling firearms in a motor vehicle, having weapons under disability, resisting arrest, and obstructing official business. I haven't gone to watch the live stream, but yeah, they tried to pull him over for reckless driving. 5 people piled out of the car. They arrested a couple of them. This dude Fletcher was found in a nearby swamp. He started live streaming himself on Facebook about 12:20 p.m. In the video, he appears to be hiding from law enforcement. And then Fletcher says on camera he hears the dogs while moving through the swamp. Makes several references to law enforcement looking for him and says he hopes the overhead plane is not looking for him. Several people were commenting as he live streamed, and the video eventually reached 26,000 views. Fletcher tells viewers that he'll tell officers the person running wasn't him. 9 minutes into the video, troopers can be heard telling Fletcher to put his hands up or they'll release the canines. I ain't doing nothing, Fletcher said. I'm back here fishing. Criminals are not the brightest guys in the world. You're going to live stream your own flight from police.
And talk about how he hopes they're not looking for him.
And then not expect them to use your own video against you. Talk about not pleading the fifth.
The thing is, I mean, they could have not caught him, and somebody just picked it up on a feed. So, a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend. Oh, hey, check this video out. Isn't that guy 20 minutes ago? Yeah, he's over here.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, come use your head. Well, they're running around with what sounds like drugs and stolen guns in the car, so they're not using their head to begin with, but ridiculous. Ridiculous. All right. So we have 1, 2, 3 articles all on police officers walking off the job.
Tampa, I think, isn't it?
Tampa, this article, and we're not going to go through every one of these. The most interesting one here is the Bronx NYPD commander quits among calls to defund the police. If you go through this article here, he worked at the department for 30 years in a anti-crime unit. And the anti-crime unit was disbanded earlier this month, with Police Commissioner Dermot Shee describing ending it as a seismic shift for the NYPD. The New York Post reported this undercover unit has a high history of high-profile shootings and deaths. 600 officers will be reassigned. We have an unusually large number of Minneapolis police are quitting, cite lack of support from the city's leaders, and riots. At least 7 Minneapolis police officers have resigned from the department since widespread unrest began over the death of George Floyd last month.
There's more than a half a dozen more are on their way out.
Yeah. 3/4 of DC police considering quitting after the city council passes an anti-police bill. This one's ridiculous. The union said in a press release on the 18th of June that the council's reforms will have a wide-ranging negative impact on the working conditions of police officers in the district. It will make it even more difficult to hire and retain new officers. Many of our members have voiced that the bill eliminates collective bargaining rights for employees, which I'm neither here nor there on that one. It makes it exceedingly more difficult to charge a suspect with assaulting a police officer. Here's the best one. It changes body-worn camera policy in such a way that it can no longer be used as an evidence collection tool. So if the police cannot use body camera as evidence collection,
then why do
they need them?
the cell phone?
My thing is,
yeah,
if they used, can the opposing party use it as evidence collection? If so, why can't the police? The other thing is, if we can't use it as an evidence collection tool, are they going to come up with another video process?
The other
And will the evidence or will the video footage be made available to the public on a FOIA request?
Now, the other thing too is what if, like, there's happening right now, a police officer exonerate himself as a defendant?
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
So, what if you got a Ohio State trooper chasing a guy through a swamp who's live streaming his own capture? You mean to tell me that guy can't use this body camera footage? Hey, look, this guy's running through the swamp. I mean,
yeah,
that's why they were put on the police to begin with.
Right.
Yeah.
It changes the language and use of force policy in the most utterly confusing way. Premises said the use of force policy changes are now so convoluted due to the bill that even the council members could not figure out the intent or impact of the language.
It sounds like Democrats.
It sounds like stupidity.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, all of these calls, defunded the police, defunded the police. You guys might want to be careful with this because you might just actually get it.
There was a video earlier this week of this was a news crew, it was an NBC news crew, I think. They were covering some protest somewhere, and the people started kind of attacking them. And the lady, she moved just off camera. She goes, "Where's the cops when you need them?"
Well, they don't want them.
I guess eventually the cops did come down and help her out, but where, like, you can't
not have them and then call them when you need them.
Right. You know?
You can't. I mean, yeah, you can't sit there and be like, "Well, we don't want you," and then
call.
Well, you didn't show.
Yeah.
You didn't.
Or the other thing, what are you going to do when you I know there's been a lot of talk about, we're going to put social workers in de-escalation tactics in the social workers' hands and all that stuff. Is like, what are you going to do in a domestic situation where the guy has a gun and he don't care whether he lives or not? He just pulls up and pow.
Well, what about? I mean,
shoots
the
everybody.
worst situation cops usually get into is domestic violence situations, and you see it all over the news where they go in and the cops get called. They show up. He's whipping the hell out of her.
Yeah.
So they go to arrest him, and she starts attacking them. What's going to happen with a social worker?
Exactly.
I mean, we see it in the Attorney General's handbook at the very end. They have that, the dispute resolution, and,
Yeah.
you know, bringing in mediators and stuff like that. We always tell
You
people,
think
like,
that's gonna work?
if you're in a life or death situation and you think that that's going to work, and like
No.
you can talk the dude down, you need to go in sales because you will make $1 trillion.
Yeah.
And then, well, the thing is, you can't. It's either that or you can't hamper them so badly that they're not able to do their job. I mean, if you guys have taken a look at policing around the world, especially in Europe, it's a friggin' joke, for Pete's sake. I mean, they're running around with a whistle and a radio. Like, screw that.
Well, I watched footage of it. It was a guy in England. He had a large kitchen knife, and it's like a 20-minute video of this guy just standing in the middle of the street with a large kitchen knife, and he's got 9-10 police officers held at bay.
Yeah.
With a kitchen knife. There's nothing they can do.
Yeah.
They don't have anything. They tried tasers, they tried pepper spray that they had on them, and none of it worked. They couldn't bring their only options they had could not bring the guy down. The only option they had was for essentially the officers took the risk and bum rushed the guy with a giant knife.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me.
You know, put their lives in huge risk to bum rush this guy to save others. On top of that, you just tied up 10, 12, a dozen officers
For one guy with a knife.
Yeah.
And then you have stuff like Tampa, where
I have to say that I saw this yesterday, and it said Boston.
really,
Yes.
when maybe there was an ambush in Boston.
It was the same thing, same scenario. They were called to a shooting, and they were ambushed.
Yeah, this one says they were called at the intersection of 15th Street and 26th for reports of shots fired.
Mm-hmm.
When the officers arrived, hundreds of people had all 4 intersections completely blocked. As they attempted to locate the victim, the crowd became aggressive. Officers took one person in custody. The crowd surrounded officers and threw glass bottles, while several objects were dumped on one of the officers' cars. There were hundreds of them. We ended up having to call every single police officer that was available that night to respond, from New Tampa to South Tampa, Dugan said. He said more than 100 officers came to help. That's not right. You can't call these guys expecting them to show up and then ambush them, and then complain when nobody's there to help you.
Yeah.
It does not make any sense whatsoever. Which, I mean,
and CBS Boston police officers were surrounded and assaulted by hostile crowd while making arrest.
Yeah.
Well, looks like it's happened twice. Once in Boston, once in Tampa.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other hand, we have factions out there, like the Albuquerque mayor has banned firearms from city parks. I read an article this morning about how one of these numbnuts said that all of the problems are blamed on the Second Amendment that we're having here. So we're going to take away the police, and we're going to take away the ability to defend yourself against a violent criminal. So essentially,
criminals abound.
We're all going to be like bowling pins standing up waiting for the ball to roll all over us. It makes zero sense whatsoever.
These guys like him, and there was another one I saw today, I think, where they're going to ban firearms during protests and stuff like that. It's like, you can't do that. You don't have the authority to do that in some city down south.
Yeah. And the thing is, New Mexico has got a preemption law, and it's right here. No municipality or county shall regulate in any way an incident to the right to keep and bear arms, right? Unlawful carry of a deadly weapon, except in the following cases: valid concealed handgun license issued to him by the Department of Public Safety. Nothing in this section shall be construed to prevent the carrying of any unloaded firearm. So, this guy Keller decided that, and without putting it through the legislature, it doesn't look like.
Yeah, Governor Daddy knows best.
Yeah. So he essentially what he did is he declared them school zones.
Yeah.
And there's just a whole mess of problems that would result from that ridiculousness. But in any event, not only, and Albuquerque's had some pretty bad things happen. The video that we had last week about the protester shooting or getting shot from another, I'm going to call him another protester, essentially. And I think that's where the governor is aiming this. But the thing is, they didn't put it through the legislature. They didn't vote on it. They didn't go through the proper channels. He just all of a sudden declared it, and you're going to do this the way I tell you to do it. And that's just not the way this entire country works.
No.
It is not.
Well, that's what they've got everybody wearing masks now because they've got all them sheeple that are supposed to wear masks, so they do. And who knows when that'll end? Might be years.
Yeah.
You see the one in was it in Oregon where they enacted this ordinance? They all people have to wear a mask when they're going in stores and whatever open businesses there are, except they made an exception, except if you're colored because you might be profiled.
That doesn't make any sense.
I know. It's like, God, you talk about racism.
Yeah.
What?
Doesn't make any sense whatsoever. I don't think there's a lot of this stuff that's going around doesn't make any sense.
None of it. There's a ton of it. That's just.
I saw a thing that earlier today, Florida, I guess, got a bunch of new COVID cases, right?
Yeah.
So they stopped selling alcohol.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
Well, and not
Because that's going to fix the problem.
not one of them will come out there like, oh, it's because them kids all went to the beach, or them people they went out and they went camping and they all because we let them go do this and well, you just had 100,000 people in a protest.
But oh no, that's not.
No, you can't spread it doing that.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. That's the thing. Nobody's using their friggin' head. Like, I mean,
It's all emotion. It's not thinking.
that's exactly
It's
what
like telling me I'm not going to get lead poisoning from lead paint if I spit it out.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, you either got it or you don't, right? I mean, ridiculous. And to pile on what is going on in the world today, guns are flying off the shelf.
Yeah.
You think? Permit applications up more than 500% amid coronavirus pandemic and George Floyd fallout.
Yep.
I don't know where this news organization came from. Well, I can tell you. It come from Illinois.
Chicago
Okay.
Tribune.
The Chicago Tribune. They're about 60 days behind the curve.
Pretty much.
They, if they have just now figured this one out, I'm going to say
They
they
need to fire the
probably.
reporter.
I'm saying the entire staff probably needs to move on to better careers because
They're probably all in lockdown in their basement.
that might be the issue. But
They finally went outside.
you would think that at some point in time, I mean, these people are supposed to like see the trends and the, I always hear this thing on the news that such and such will be trending now, and I don't know whether there's like a gauge somewhere, the trending gauge, like, but tells us, but it sees people. This is trending now. Well, I mean, like,
60 days ago.
Yeah,
what was happening?
your gun sales meter, like, it's broken. You need to get the maintenance guy to look at that or something, because that son of a bitch is, and maybe that's the issue. It done twisted all the way around back to zero.
Maybe.
It's up to about 500%.
Yeah, and it's like, hello, McFly, you just figured that out? We got another article here. This one makes sense.
Yep.
Americans buying guns because they can't count on beleaguered police or soft on crime polls to protect them. That is the truth. We've been saying it for years. The police have been saying it for years. The Second Amendment
Court's been saying
it for years. Self-protection isn't limited by any demographic that you can pile on it. It's everybody that can take responsibility for this. In recent weeks, Americans voted with their wallets again and have stripped gun retailers' shelves bare of most guns and ammo. Yeah. Between the Chinese flu and widespread civil unrest, the buyers include over 2 million first-time firearm owners. After 2008, there was a huge surge in gun owners. It grew steadily right along the way. Now we have got another massive surge in new gun owners. And this 2 million, I think, is just in March. I don't think they've got April, May, or June's numbers back yet. NICS hasn't shut down like it did in March, but you got April, May, and June. So even if this number falls by 50%, that's still 3 more million people.
Yeah, because we've seen more delays on people who never would have thought they'd been delayed.
Yeah,
lately than ever.
And reoccurring customers,
people that have bought guns before getting delayed.
Yeah, for God's sake, retired police officers.
Yep.
They've
also concluded that nothing protects oneself and family like a firearm. Well, we can hand it to you. That's the best tool for the job. The old saw about when seconds count, police are just minutes away, says it all. Although minutes may be wildly optimistic right now, I would bet a lot of the country, especially major metropolitan areas, are going to have the Flint syndrome where police are going to be hours and days away.
Yeah.
No doubt many of these first-time buyers resemble some friends of mine, their family, mom, dad, teenage son, and co-ed daughter. How do you have a co-ed daughter?
I don't quite get that.
I don't get that. Whatever. Anyway, has wrestled with whether to buy a gun for years. Watching rioting happen locally with police standing by, letting it happen and not making arrests, proved their come-to-Jesus moment. Even mom got on board with the purchase decision.
The amount of people that have been in here that have said that, I've never really was and never really thought about it. And, I think I'm going to buy a gun.
Probably a good idea.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Providing you get enough training and you got enough sense to use it, handle it properly.
Which if, the class, the CCW classes, all of our classes have just been. Damn. I think we're into a group of people that they're first time gun owners, but probably a whole group of people that they don't really know a lot of gun owners, and they might be the black sheep in their neighborhood now. Like, I bought a handgun, we're gonna hide it so the neighbors don't know.
Yeah,
because we're Democrats.
Yeah,
but those are the people that are, willing to come out and they're like, I don't know anything. And I don't feel comfortable. What do I need to do? Okay, come.
We've seen a ton of that lately.
And where, you get a lot of, we're kind of hitting, you get a lot of people that are like, well, I haven't shooting for years. I'm just here to just get my license. Well,
I think we've seen exponentially more business professionals in class in the last 2 months or 3 months than ever.
Yeah, there's been a lot
of them,
and the women are still generally outnumbering the men.
Yeah. Yep.
So I mean, it is what it is. Yeah, business professionals. There isn't really one specific demographic of people that you could, throw out there that's going to cover them all. I mean, just people from all walks of life.
I just read that. Social shotgun.
Yeah, another family took my advice and bought a social shotgun. A 12-gauge riot gun. Of course, the family that most 2 of their local gun shops had few self-defense handguns. Yeah, whoever wrote this article needs to rewrite English, but in any event, sounds like most of their local gun shops didn't have any handguns for them to buy. Help them with their purchase decision. While their favorite gun shop didn't have a single round of 9mm or 223 to sell them, the store still had some buckshot and slugs for their new Thunder Stick. Neither of these families bought their first defensive firearms for the thrill and excitement many of us associate with recreational shooting. They bought them to give themselves a fighting chance if violent criminals pick their home to attack. These families don't want to be sitting ducks like millions of others in America. They can read the writing on the wall. Radical extremists are rioting and calling for defunding the police or outright disbanding local departments, as Minneapolis City Council just voted unanimously to do. Law enforcement has pointed out that residents will have to live with the consequences of defunding or disbanding law enforcement agencies, but that hasn't stopped them. What's more, now that more ranges have opened, many of them have wisely flocked to trainers to learn how to safely handle their new purchase, as well as the legal considerations of using deadly force in a defensive situation. Learning about the judicious use of force is especially critical in today's world. After all, prosecutors with sympathies toward criminals don't usually embrace self-defense rights of the law-abiding. Absolutely right about that. Depending upon your jurisdiction, the prosecutor may or may not have sympathy for you, even though you are 100% in the right, defending your home, defending your family. They still may try and prosecute you at your expense. So,
well, we've heard it even from active duty police that criminals have more rights than you do.
Yeah, a lot of times they do. So it is what it is, and make sure everybody stays safe out there. We got some new cool products of the week for you. I think we did Black Hills Ammo last week. We're going to do a dump pouch. This is more of a piece of range gear, survival gear. These are really useful. I know it's kind of hard to see because it's all black, but it's just this little pouch, and it's got kind of a surprise.
I got a green one on.
Yeah, he's got a green one on. It's got kind of a surprise. You pull it loose, and it gets bigger. It folds up kind of nice on your belt. Throw ammo in there. You can throw magazines in there. You can throw anything you need in there, right? Got a drain hole for water. They work really, really well. Molly or belt loop attachment. They're super cheap. What are these? $8, $10, $12?
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that.
One of them things you didn't know that you needed it until after you bought it. Very handy.
Just one of the things it's just one of like these.
Yeah.
You don't know how many times you're going to use it till you got one.
Well, I like them for like when we do, doing classes and stuff like that. I can, I can chuck anything in there. A bottle of water or something like that. So if we have a break, it's got to let them. You can you just got to cinch on top. You can cinch them down. Keep all that stuff in there, and you throw a bottle of water in there. You gotta, if you're doing a class or anything like that, and you take a break, you can just reach back there, got a bottle of water, take a drink, boom. I'll throw, my magazines in there. After after I pick them up and whatnot, throw the magazines in there. Maybe like a little bag. Throw like a box of ammo or something in there. Well, you're doing instruction, or there's a lull in your range day or anything like that. You just kind of reach back there, pick it out, a few rounds, throw them in a magazine. You get back to doing something, you just dump it in there, and you can go back to working your drill, doing your class, any of that stuff, and
they work really, really well.
It helps. The nice thing is it helps because you're ready for the next iteration, and when you get a lot of people that are, especially if you're paying money to take a class, you get a lot of people that kind of think ahead a little bit and kind of take those times to prepare. You end up gaining more from the class because they're going to have to give you, you're going to get more repetitions or, more instruction or anything like that because you've absorbed their time block.
Yeah,
right.
Because
you get more out of it.
I kept my mags loaded, so I don't have to wait. If the instructor doesn't have to stop every so often to wait for people to load their mags. If they keep them loaded, well, they have to keep going.
Yep. Right. All right. Next thing we got, Predator Hog gun light package. This is pretty good, pretty cool light, super bright. I think it's red, right?
We got red here. They do come in red and green.
Yeah.
Not going to point this one at the camera because it is actually that bright, but I'll point it behind me. You can see broad daylight how bright that thing actually is. They say you can see 250 yards with this. I believe them. I've used this. I've had it out at night, and you absolutely can see 250 yards with this light.
Yeah.
They take an 18650 battery. They come with a charger and the mount for your gun. It's just a clamp-on mount. Goes around the flashlight and then around the gun.
Yeah.
They're pretty durable. I've used this one 4 or 5 times so far, and really the paint's not even scratched. There's a little worn on the one end.
Yeah.
Corey used it a couple times. I think once or twice.
$85, something like that.
Yeah, they're like $85 or something like that. If you're into predator hunting or
yeah, you mount this right on top of your scope. You got a picture of it right there. I don't know if you can see that.
Yep.
Mount it on top of the scope. Away you go.
I mean, you could use this thing for a spotlight. It's super useful. As you can tell, guys, we really like our lights around here.
Mm-hmm.
So, check these out. Predator, they're made by Predator Tactics. It's called a Night Raid. Good light, good price. It's been durable. It's lasted a while. So, super happy with it.
The same thing goes with whether you're predator hunting or
predator hunting.
Or predator hunting, the predator that's the numbnuts that decided to come through your door when he was at 2 a.m.
Four-legged predators or two-legged predators.
Predators are predators. You can't shoot what you can't see.
Yep.
So, on top of spending, $8-10 grand on a set of PBS 14s and wearing a helmet around all the time in your living room, you need light.
Yeah.
Whether you're outside with a red light or in, red lights, white lights.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Buy more flashlights. Yep.
Buy more lights.
You absolutely cannot shoot what you can't see. That's what we got for you tonight, guys. Everybody, thanks for stopping by and listening to us ramble for an hour. Hopefully everybody has a really good weekend and enjoys it. Everybody stay safe, and we will see you next week.